All right, so this is the second lesson for this week. We're going to go ahead and continue on with multi-step equations. And the main goal is to isolate that variable, get that variable all by itself, and solve for what the value of that variable is. Okay, and remember that we want to do whatever we need to. So use the inverse operations to move those things from side to side, but whatever you do to one side, you must do to the other side of the equation. Okay, so again, let me remind you of the steps that it takes to solve these multi-step equations, and then we will get into me showing you some of that work and how that works out. Okay, so first, if you do see parentheses, make sure you get rid of them. So you want to distribute that number outside. Make sure you watch the sign of that number. And then if you can combine like terms, we want to do that to simplify. We want to get the variables together on one side. Remember, I like to get it together on the left-hand side, and then it turns into that two-step equation that we're always used to. And then we can move the numbers to the other side and solve for that variable. Okay, so here is example number 1. Okay, again, notice you see those parentheses. I also see two different u's, and so I know I'm going to have some like terms to get together, but I do want to solve for u. Okay, so here I'm going to draw my line, okay, and then again I want to distribute, and I'm distributing that 3, so I'm going to take 3 times u and 3 times -5. So this -21 will stay the same. I will get 3u minus 15, and then that minus 5u stays the same. Okay, so now I want to look on both sides and make sure that both sides are simplified. So on the left-hand side, -21 is the only thing that's there, so I don't simplify anything. But on the right-hand side, I notice you have these like terms, 3u and -5u. Okay, so I'm going to put those together. -21 stays on the left-hand side, and 3 minus 5 is -2. So I have -2u and then minus 15. Here is that two-step equation that we've worked on before. Notice it's kind of flipped around. But we can still solve for u here. So I'm going to add 15 to the right side to get that to cancel. So I'm going to add 15 over here. -21 plus 15 is -6. That equals -2u. And then the final step is to divide by -2. So we get u equals 3. Okay, u equals 3. Okay, go ahead and go on to a second example. Here I notice that I have two sets of parentheses, so I'm going to do two different distributing problems. And then I see that there are 3 x's in this problem, so I will be combining those like terms. Okay, so I'm going to draw my line. On the left-hand side, I'm going to distribute that 2, so that becomes 2x plus 18. On the right-hand side, I'm going to distribute that 3, so that becomes 6x minus 12, and then I leave that plus 6x. Okay, on the left-hand side here, those are not like terms, so that's going to stay the same. On the right-hand side here, I see I have a 6x and a 6x that can go together. So on the left-hand side here, 2x plus 18 equals, that turns into 12x minus 12. Okay, so now I'm going to get the variables together on the left-hand side. So I want to take this variable and move it over to the left. So I need to subtract 12x from both sides. Again, over here I'm writing it underneath its like term. They both have the x. 2 take away 12 is -10x. I still have plus 18 equals, and that's -12. Don't forget that 12 is negative. Now we want to subtract 18 over here. Move it to the right-hand side, so I get -10x equals -30. And I'm going to divide by -10, and we get x equals 3. So number 3 here, I'm going to draw my line. Again, I notice I have several distributing problems. I have 3 different w's there, so I'll be combining like terms. Okay, so I have 5 times w, which is 5w, and 5 times 6, which is 30. Okay, so that's on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side here, I get -8w, and then -2 times -8 is positive 16. Then plus 3w plus 4 stays the same. Okay, so on the left-hand side, those are not like terms. They're going to stay the same. So I'm just going to write that again, 5w plus 30 equals, and then on the right-hand side here, I say I have negative 8w and 3w. That makes negative 5w. And then I have 16 and 4 makes 20. Okay, so I have both sides simplified. Now I want to get my variables together. So on the right-hand side here, I have negative 5w. So I'm going to add 5w to get that canceled out. I'm going to add 5w over here. That gives me 10w plus 30 equals 20. Okay, there's that two-step equation that you should know how to solve. So I'm going to subtract 30 from both sides. I get 10w equals negative 10. I'm going to divide by 10 on both sides. Whoops. And I get w equals negative 1. Okay, so negative 1 is that final answer.